Well, we had a lot of little games, like he would say at the dinner table. He'd think of some little problem, and he'd say, suppose you were a Martian, we were Martians, and we came down to this Earth, and we'd look at it from the outside. And that, I can't explain exactly what he meant, but there's a way of looking something anew, as if you never saw it before, for the first time, and asking questions about it as if you were different. For instance, if you would ask, later I did some little amusing research for a paper in college on sleep, but it started with a question of his kind. Suppose you were a Martian who never slept. They didn't have sleep. You didn't have to sleep. And you came down to this Earth and you saw these people who had this funny property that every day for a certain amount of time they had to lie down and become unconscious. And then the natural question would be, how does it feel to get unconscious? What happens to you? Ideas run along and suddenly they stop? Or do they just run more and more slowly? But what happens to your ideas? How does it feel to become unconscious? So I tried to answer the question. What happens when you become unconscious? Ceremonies do we do? Every morning we brush our teeth. What is the evidence that the brushing of teeth does us any good in cavities? So you start wondering, are we all, imagine as the Earth turns on the orbit, there's an edge between light and dark. And along that edge, all the people along that edge, are doing the same ritual for no good reason. Just like in the Middle Ages, they had other rituals. And you try to picture this perpetual line of toothbrushes going around the Earth. It's to take the world from another point of view. Now, it may well be that brushing teeth is a very good thing because it gets rid of cavities, and you can find out whether it does or it doesn't by trying to find out. Now, you can ask your dentist. He says, of course. And you say, how about evidence? I have not found the evidence from dentists because they just learned it in school. Now, I'm not trying to argue that it's good or bad to brush teeth. What I'm trying to argue for is to think about things from a new point of view. It has to do with curiosity. It has to do with people wondering what makes something do something. And then to discover that if you try to get answers, that they're related to each other. That things that make the wind make the waves, and the motion of water is like the motion of air, is like the motion of sand. The fact that things have common features turns out more and more universal. What we're looking for is how everything works, and what makes everything work. And what happens first in the history is we discover the things that are on the face of it obvious. And then gradually we ask more questions, and then we dig in a little deeper to things that we can just we need to do a little more complicated experiment to find out about it. But it's curiosity as to where we are, what we are. It's very much more exciting to discover we're on a ball, half of it sticking upside down. It's spinning around in space. There's a mysterious force which holds us on. It's going around a great big glob of gas that's burning fueled by a fire that's completely different than any fire we can make. Well, now we can make that fire, nuclear fire.